You prayed last night, the way you used to, and it felt like the words rose a few feet and then fell back down. Nothing answered. Nothing stirred. The room stayed exactly as quiet as it was before you spoke. And you lay there afterward, wondering if you had just been talking to the ceiling, to the dark, to no one at all. It did not used to feel like this. There was a time when prayer felt like reaching out and finding a hand already there, when the words of faith warmed something in your chest, when you knew, in a way you did not have to argue yourself into, that you were heard. And somewhere along the way, that knowing went quiet. The warmth cooled, and now you go through the motions of a faith you are no longer sure you have. And you are afraid to tell anyone, because what would they think if they knew that the person who has believed all these years is not sure anymore whether any of it is true? I want to speak to you in exactly that place tonight, the cold and quiet place where your faith used to be loud. And I want to begin by telling you the one thing you are most afraid is not true. I am here. I did not leave when the feeling did. I am as near to you right now in your doubt as I have ever been in your certainty. And your inability to feel me does not mean I am gone. It means you are tired and human, and walking through something that almost every person who has ever truly loved me has walked through at one time or another. You have not been abandoned. You have only gone numb. And numbness is not the same as absence, though I know from inside your experience it feels exactly the same. Think of how a body goes numb in the cold. The hand is still there, still whole, still yours. It has not vanished because you cannot feel it. The feeling has simply gone quiet for a while. And when the warmth returns, so does the sensation, and you find the hand was there the entire time. Your faith is like that right now. The feeling of me has gone numb. And because so much of how you knew me was through that feeling, its absence convinces you that I have left. But I have not moved. The same God who felt so near in the warm seasons is exactly this near in the cold one. The only thing that has changed is your ability to feel it. And that is a matter of the spiritual nerves going quiet, not of my going away. Do not mistake the numbness for my absence. They are not the same thing, however identical they feel from where you are lying in the dark. Let me name what you have been carrying, because you have been carrying it alone and in secret for a while now. There is the hollowness of the prayers, the sense that you are performing a faith you no longer feel. There is the way the songs that used to move you to tears now slide past you. The words in your mouth, but nothing behind them. There is sitting among believers, in the pew or the chair, looking around at faces that seem so sure, and feeling like a stranger among them, a fraud. The one person there who is secretly not sure of anything anymore. There is the book that used to come alive in your hands, and now lies flat on the page. The words you have read 100 times, suddenly looking like just words. And the guilt of opening it and feeling nothing where you used to feel fed. There is the moment someone asks you to pray aloud or share what God has been doing. And you reach inside for something to say and find a strange emptiness where the answers used to be. So you offer something practiced and old, hoping no one can tell. There is the way you have learned to nod along in conversations about faith, to say the right things, to keep the surface intact, while underneath you are quietly coming apart. Certain that if anyone could see inside, they would be shocked at how little is left. You have become an actor in your own faith, performing a part you used to live, and the exhaustion of that performance, the loneliness of keeping the secret, is its own heavy and particular grief. And underneath all of it sits the question you can hardly bear to look at directly, the one that surfaces at 3 in the morning. What if it is not true? What if there is no one there? What if I have built my whole life on something I am no longer sure exists? And then, right behind the question, comes the shame. The voice that says, a real believer would not feel this way. That your doubt is a betrayal, a failure, maybe even a sin. That you are letting me down, letting your family down. That you have lost something precious and may never get it back. You have been judging yourself harshly in this season, treating your doubt as a moral failing, and adding the weight of that shame on top of the weight of the doubt itself, until you are carrying twice the load you needed to. And there is one more fear underneath even that one, that this is permanent, that the faith you have lost the feeling of is gone for good, that you will never again know the warmth and the certainty you once had, that you have somehow misplaced something you can never get back, and that you will spend the rest of your life going through motions that are forever empty. That fear can be the heaviest of all, because it tells you the cold is not a season, but a sentence. I know, too, that for many of you, this did not come out of nowhere. The doubt has a story. Maybe it began with a prayer that went unanswered when you needed it most, a loss that did not make sense, a suffering you could not square with a good and loving God, and a question opened up in you that you have not been able to close again. Maybe it began with the church itself, with people who claimed my name and wounded you in it, until the whole thing felt tangled up with hurt and hypocrisy, and you no longer knew what was real. Maybe it was simply a hard question you stumbled into and could not unask. I am not going to wave any of that away with an easy answer, or pretend the things that shook your faith were not real. They were real. Your questions are not foolish, and your wounds are not imaginary. And I am not asking you to bury them to come back to me. I am asking you to bring them, all of them, the questions and the hurts and the things that do not make sense, and let me meet you in the middle of them, rather than on the far side where everything is tidy again. So let me lift the second weight off you first, because it was never yours to carry. Your doubt is not a sin. Hear me say that again, slowly. Your honest doubt is not a sin, and it does not make me angry, and it does not push me away. The world, and sometimes even the church, has taught you that faith and doubt are opposites, that to doubt is to fail at believing. But that is not how I see it at all. Doubt is not the opposite of faith. Indifference is. The opposite of faith is not the person wrestling with hard questions at midnight. It is the person who has stopped caring enough to ask them. The very fact that your unbelief grieves you, that you miss me, that the silence hurts, is itself a kind of evidence that something real is still there. You do not mourn the absence of something you never loved. Your ache is not proof that your faith is dead. It is proof that it is still alive enough to ache. Consider who actually doubts. It is not the person who never cared about me. That person feels nothing, asks nothing, loses no sleep. It is the one who loved, who built their life around me, who expected me to be real and near, who is now wrestling because the gap between what they believed and what they feel has become unbearable. Doubt of that kind is not the mark of a faithless heart. It is the mark of a heart that took me seriously enough to be wounded when I seemed to go silent. The people in my book who wrestled hardest with me, who argued and questioned and demanded answers, were almost never the indifferent ones. They were the ones who cared the most, who would not let go of me even to doubt me comfortably. Wrestling with God is not the opposite of holding on to God. Sometimes it is the very form that holding on takes when everything else has gone dark. If something in you is loosening as I say that, hold on to it, because the shame will come back, probably tomorrow, the next time you feel nothing where you used to feel me. If it helps to return here and be reminded that your doubt has not disqualified you, you are welcome as often as you need. I do not tire of telling a struggling heart the truth it has forgotten. Let me tell you about a man who stood exactly where you are standing, and what I did with him. A father once came to my son in desperation, his child suffering, his last hope hanging on whether this teacher could really do what people said. And my son told him that all things were possible to the one who believes. And the father, caught between his hope and his honest heart, cried out something so raw and so true that it has comforted doubters for 2,000 years. He said with tears, "Lord, I believe, help thou mine unbelief." Do you hear what is in that cry? It is not clean, confident faith. It is faith and doubt tangled together in the same breath. A man saying, "I believe and I do not," both at once, holding them out honestly instead of pretending. And here is what matters most. My son did not turn him away for it. He did not say, "Come back when your faith is stronger. Come back when you have sorted out your doubt." He healed the child. He met the man exactly in his mixture of belief and unbelief. And he honored the little, struggling, honest faith that was there rather than demanding a perfect faith that was not. That cry, "I believe, help my unbelief," may be the most honest prayer you can pray right now, and it is more than enough. You do not have to manufacture certainty you do not have. You only have to be honest about the little you do have, and bring even that to me. Notice what that father did not do. He did not stay home because his faith was not strong enough. He did not wait until he had resolved his doubts before he dared to come. He came as he was, divided down the middle, and he was honest about the division rather than hiding it under a confidence he did not feel. That honesty is the whole secret. The doubt did not disqualify his prayer. The honesty made it powerful. And I would so much rather have your honest, "I believe, help my unbelief," than a polished prayer that pretends a certainty you have lost. Stop waiting to feel sure before you come to me. Come divided. Come doubting. Come with the tears and the tangle and the half of you that is not sure I am even listening, and lay it down in front of me exactly as it is. That kind of honest, unfinished, struggling prayer is not a lesser prayer. In my eyes, it may be the truest one you have ever prayed. Now hear how gently I deal with a faith that is barely flickering. because this is the truth I most want to give you tonight. My book says of my servant, "A bruised reed shall he not break, and the smoking flax shall he not quench." Picture those two things. A reed already bent and crushed, that one more touch could snap, and the smoking flax, the wick of a lamp that has almost gone out. Just a thread of smoke rising from an ember, the smallest possible remnant of a flame. The world would discard both. Who keeps a broken reed or a wick that will not stay lit? But I do not break the bruised reed, and I do not snuff out the smoldering wick. I cup my hand around that last faint ember, and I shelter it. I tend it. I breathe on it, gently, patiently, until it can burn again. Your faith right now may feel like nothing more than smoke, the barest trace of a fire that used to blaze. I am not going to stamp it out for being weak. I am bending down over that little ember, guarding it from the wind, and I am in no hurry. I have all the patience in the world for a faith that is only smoke, because I am the one who knows it can become fire again. And notice the gentleness in that image, because it tells you something about how I am with you right now. A person trying to relight a wick that has almost gone out does not blow on it hard. A hard breath would put it out entirely. They lean in close and breathe softly, patiently, cupping their hands around the little ember to shield it, coaxing it back rather than forcing it. That is how I am tending your faith in this season. I am not standing over you demanding that you believe harder, not blasting you with commands to feel what you cannot feel, not threatening to give up on you if the flame does not catch by a certain day. I am leaning close. I am being gentle with the little that is left. I know that what is barely smoldering must be handled tenderly, or it goes out. And I am the most tender with the faith that is the most fragile. You have been so harsh with your own flickering faith, ready to call it dead. I am cupping my hands around it and breathing on it, slowly, with all the patience of the one who lit it in the first place. And you do not need much. You have believed, somewhere along the way, that you need great faith, strong faith, the kind that never wavers, and that your small, flickering faith is worthless. My son said something that frees you from that lie entirely. He said that faith as small as a grain of mustard seed, the tiniest of seeds, is enough to move mountains. Not great faith, not certain faith, a seed. The size of your faith was never the point. The object of it was, a tiny faith in a great God can do what an enormous faith in nothing cannot. So stop measuring the smallness of what you have and condemning yourself for it. A mustard seed is not nothing. A mustard seed is a beginning. And the smallest seed of honest faith planted in me is more than enough for me to work with. Think about what a seed actually is. It is small, yes, almost nothing in your hand, but it is alive, and it is the beginning of something far larger than itself. And the whole towering tree is already folded up inside it, waiting. A seed does not have to be a tree yet to be a seed. It only has to be alive and planted. The faith you have left may feel humiliatingly small, a fraction of what you once had, hardly worth calling faith at all. But if even a seed of it remains, If there is in you any longing for me, any willingness to reach out one more time into the dark, then you have exactly what I need. I have never required a great harvest of faith from anyone. I have only ever asked for a seed, something small and living that you are willing to put into the ground and trust me to grow. Give me the seed. Do not despise it for being small. In the right hands, and mine are the right hands, the smallest seed becomes the largest thing in the garden. Let me speak now to your deepest fear, the one underneath all the others, that your doubt has somehow put you outside, that you have wandered too far, that if you came back, I might not have you. So let me tell you what my son promised, in words I want you to hold on to when the fear rises. Him that cometh to me, I will in no wise cast out. In no wise. Not for any reason, not for doubt, not for distance, not for the cold season you have been walking through. The door is not closed to the doubter. There is no version of you, no amount of unbelief or numbness or hard questions that I will turn away when you come. You are afraid that your doubt has made you unwelcome. The opposite is true. You are welcome exactly as you are, mid-doubt, mid-struggle, with all your questions unanswered. And I will not cast you out, not now, not ever, no matter how far the season has taken you from the warmth you used to feel. Read the promise again and notice what it does not say. It does not say, "Him that cometh to me with all his doubts resolved, I will receive." It does not say, "Him that cometh to me with strong, certain, feeling faith." It simply says, "Him that cometh to me." The only requirement is the coming, not the condition you arrive in. You do not have to fix yourself first. You do not have to recover your certainty before you are allowed to approach. You can come exactly as you are tonight, cold and unsure, and carrying a fistful of unanswered questions. And the welcome is the same as it has ever been. There is no doubt-sized exception written into that promise, no asterisk that excludes the one whose faith has gone numb. In no wise cast out means in no case, for no reason, under no circumstance. You have spent this season afraid you had wandered outside the welcome. You never did. The door you thought had closed behind you was open the whole time. There was one among my son's closest friends who doubted as openly as anyone in all my book. His name was Thomas. When the others told him they had seen the risen Lord, he refused to simply take their word for it. He said plainly that unless he could see the wounds himself, put his own finger where the nails had been, he would not believe. He demanded proof. He doubted the most important thing his friends had ever told him. And how did my son respond to such open, stubborn doubt? Not with anger, not with rejection. He came days later, specifically for Thomas, stood in front of him, and offered him exactly what he had asked for. Reach hither thy finger, and behold my hands. Be not faithless, but believing. He did not shame Thomas for needing more. He met him in his doubt and gave him what he needed to believe again. And Thomas, the doubter, became the one who fell down and said, "My Lord and my God." The doubt was not the end of his faith. It was the doorway to a deeper one. I am not afraid of your doubt, and I am not angry at your questions. Like I did with Thomas, I will meet you in them. Bring me your doubt the way he brought me his, honestly, and watch what I do with it. And notice one more thing about Thomas, because it overturns the shame you have been carrying. After all of it, after the open doubt and the demand for proof, my son did not think less of him. Thomas was not demoted to a lesser disciple, not remembered as the failure among the faithful. He went on to carry the good news farther than almost any of them. All the way, the old stories say, to the other side of the known world. The doubt did not ruin him. It became part of his testimony. The very thing that made his eventual faith so unshakable, because it had been tested in the fire of honest questioning and come out solid. Your doubt does not have to be the shameful secret that ends your story. Brought to me, it can become the very thing that deepens your faith into something that can never again be knocked over by a hard question, because it will no longer be resting on feelings or on never having asked. It will be resting on me, who met you in the asking. So here is how I would have you walk through this cold season, until the warmth returns, as it can. Be honest with me, completely honest. You do not have to pretend with me, ever, least of all now. You do not have to dress up your prayers in language you no longer feel, or perform a confidence you do not have. Come to me as you actually are. And if all you can say is, I don't know if you're even there, but I'm here, then say that, and know that it is a real prayer. Maybe the most real one you have prayed in years. Honesty is not the enemy of faith. It is the soil faith grows back in. Tell me your doubts. Tell me your questions. Tell me you are angry, or numb, or afraid that none of it is true. I can handle all of it. The doubters who brought their doubt to me always fared better than those who hid it and drifted away in silence. Do not drift away in silence. Bring it to me. There is a strange freedom waiting for you the moment you stop performing for me. You have been so careful, even in prayer, to say the acceptable things, to approach me as though I would be shocked or offended by what is really going on inside you. But I already know what is inside you. There is nothing you could confess that would surprise me. So you can put down the performance entirely. You can say the unsayable thing, the one you have not even let yourself think clearly. I am not sure you are real. I am angry that you were silent when I needed you. I do not know if I can do this anymore. Say it. None of it will drive me away, and all of it, brought into the open between us, becomes something I can meet you in. The faith that hides its doubts from God stays brittle. The faith that dares to say them out loud, to God's face, is the faith that grows roots. Honesty is not the crack that breaks your faith. It is the opening through which I come back in. Keep showing up, even when you feel nothing. This is perhaps the hardest and most important thing. The temptation in a season of doubt is to stop, to walk away from prayer and the word and the gathering of believers until the feeling comes back. But the feeling usually comes back precisely through the showing up, not before it. Keep praying the honest prayers even when they feel empty. Keep opening the book even when the words seem flat. Keep sitting among my people even when you feel like a stranger there. You are not being a hypocrite by continuing to seek me while you doubt. You are being faithful in the truest way there is, choosing to keep turning toward the ember even when you cannot feel its heat. Faithfulness in the dark is worth more than faithfulness in the light, because it costs more, and I see every bit of what it costs you. There is a kind of believer who only follows me when the feelings are good, who is warm when worship is moving and cold the moment it stops, whose faith rises and falls with their emotions like a boat on the tide. And there is another kind, rarer and dearer to me, who keeps walking when there is no feeling at all, who shows up to pray into apparent silence, who opens the book that has gone flat, who keeps their place among my people even while feeling like a stranger, simply because they have decided that what is true does not stop being true the moment they stop feeling it. That second kind of faith is the kind being forged in you right now, in this very season you are so ashamed of. Every time you pray a prayer that feels like nothing and pray it anyway. Every time you show up when it would be easier to walk away. You are building a faith that does not depend on weather, a faith that has learned to stand in the dark. You may feel like a failure for having to force yourself through the motions. You are not failing. You are becoming the rarest and strongest kind of believer there is. Do not face this alone, and do not let shame isolate you. The lie of doubt is that you are the only one, that everyone around you is certain, and you are uniquely broken, and that you must hide your struggle or be exposed as a fraud. None of that is true. Some of the most faithful people you know have walked through exactly this and never said a word, just as you have not. Find one trusted person, a wise friend, a pastor, a believer who will not panic at your honesty, and let them in. You were never meant to wrestle with this in secret. Doubt grows in isolation and shrinks in honest company. And be patient with the slowness of it. The warmth may not return tomorrow or the next day, and I am not going to promise you a timeline I have not given, because I do not deal in false comfort. Faith that has gone cold sometimes warms slowly, an ember at a time. But slow is not the same as never, and a season is not the same as forever. Many who have walked through a long valley of doubt have come out the other side with a faith deeper and more durable than the easy certainty they had before. A faith that has been tested and held, that knows me not just from the warm feelings, but from having walked through the dark and found me still there. The cold season is not the death of your faith. It may be the making of a stronger one. And if this darkness has grown into something heavier than doubt, if the loss of the faith that once held you up has left you in a despair you cannot climb out of, where the days feel pointless and you are not sure you want to keep going, please do not carry that alone for one more night. That is more than a season of doubt, and you should not have to face it by yourself. Tell someone, a friend, a pastor, a doctor, a counselor, anyone who can help you carry it. Reaching for help when the darkness is that deep is not a failure of faith. It is wisdom, and it is courage, and I will be with you in it, whether you can feel me or not. If these words have found you in the cold and quiet place tonight, do not stay there alone the way you have been. You do not have to explain how long it has been. or how far you have drifted, or which questions are the ones that haunt you. Just write 4 words where others can see them. I want to believe. Not I am certain. Just the honest reach of a heart that has not given up. Say it among the others here who are wrestling in their own quiet, and discover that the doubt you thought made you uniquely broken is shared by more faithful hearts than you ever imagined. I read every one of those words, and I know the whole long struggle behind each. So let me tell you what I see when I look at you in this season you are so ashamed of. I do not see a failure or a fraud. I see a smoking wick that has not gone out. I see a bruised reed that is bent but not broken. I see someone who, even in the numbness, even in the doubt, is still here, still reaching, still aching for a God they are not sure they can feel. And that ache is one of the most faithful things a human heart can do. The certain have it easy. You are doing the hard and holy work of holding on when the feeling has let go. And I would not trade that struggling, honest, flickering faith of yours for 100 easy certainties. Your doubt does not scare me. It does not disappoint me. And it does not change one thing about how I feel toward you, or how near I am to you right now. I have my hand cupped around the ember. I am not going anywhere. And one day, sooner or later, in a way you cannot script or schedule, you are going to feel the warmth steal back in, and you are going to realize that I was here the entire time, in the cold and the quiet, tending a fire you were sure had gone out. And when that warmth returns, it will not be the same faith you had before. And that is a mercy, not a loss. The faith that comes back through a valley of doubt is sturdier than the faith that never walked through one. It has fewer illusions and deeper roots. It knows me not only from the mountaintop feelings, but from the long, dark stretch where the feelings were gone and you kept reaching anyway, and found, at the end, that I had never let go of you. That is a faith that the next hard question cannot topple, because it has already survived the hardest one. So do not despise this season, even as you long for it to end. I am doing something in the dark that the light could never have done. I am building the kind of faith in you that lasts. Until then, keep coming, even in the dark. Bring me the mustard seed. Bring me the honest, tearful prayer of a heart that says, I believe. Help my unbelief. It is enough. You are not cast out. You are not too far gone. You are held, and you are loved. And the flame is not dead. It is only smoke for now. And I am the God who has never once let the smoke become nothing. Rest tonight. You do not have to figure it all out by morning. You only have to keep turning, even by inches, toward the one who has been turned toward you the whole time.